Happy Top 5 Monday to everyone in the sports universe. This is the AM Drive on our YouTube channel. For Aaron Crouch, I am Michael Carvelis. Aaron, how was your sports weekend?
I've got to say, I didn't really watch a ton of sports this weekend.
Boo!
I watched the Knights game, I watched the Oilers practice on Saturday. But other than that, no, I'm preparing to have some family in town, and yeah.
Okay. I watched NHL Playoffs. Those were very fun to cover and just enjoy. I'm starting to believe that NHL might be my first favorite sport at this point. Maybe it's because I'm invested into it, but I'm enjoying it more than the NBA playoffs, and that's kind of sad because my team's doing well. But yeah, I'm tired of seeing blowouts, and in the NLL, you've learned firsthand that no lead's ever safe. So
that's true. I think it sounds like you're learning and you're growing and realizing that the NBA is very meh.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's something ain't right about it. The refs are. I don't like to blame the refs, but let's just say I'm not a fan of the refs being such a big part of the narrative, and then because it leads to people blaming them on Twitter. So
yeah, but you're gonna get with every sport. I think it's a lot more, and to an extent, it's also happened in the NFL too. It's just I don't try to bite into all this soap opera BS. Like
Agreed.
The NBA to me and the NFL have become bigger stories off the field most times than they have on the field, and it's just not it for me.
I want to read a tweet. I call it my 3 reasons. I said I have to say that social media never lets a team just lose. It's always something else happened. Top reasons. Number 1, the refs.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, some random injury a guy played through. Number 3, bad coaching all of a sudden.
Yeah, everybody's a coach. And you're right. It's just like, okay, I get it. You can, these things happen, but it's like with the invention of technology and replay and how good technology's obviously gotten, where we have cameras, covering every single angle of every single game. I mean, the human element of this game, sometimes it makes it, it is what it is. Sometimes the problem is when humans fail, it's magnified because you can see every single angle from your seat. But, a human made a call in real time. These things happen. 99% of the time, they get it right.
That's the point. Yep.
But we have the ability to show every single angle of them getting it wrong is the problem.
No, he hit his arm. Like, really? That's all?
Yeah.
Oh, well. MikeandAaronDrive.com for our shop, sponsors, socials, and YouTube. But the key here is the shop. Get awesome hoodies like this. You can also get the awesome mug. And Aaron's got... Did that shirt come from Fanatics or no?
No, it did not.
Boo! The hat did. That's good. A nice tumbler, too. All right, good. All right, so let's get called. I want to start with the NHL playoffs because these have been exciting as crap. And not just because my Kraken scored 7 goals last night.
Oh,
because
wow.
Actually the Devils did better than that one. So, did you see So I sent you 2 tweets this week. I know you saw the first one of like clowning Maple Leafs fans. Did you see the one I sent this morning?
I did. I absolutely enjoyed that tweet, and shout out, Chris Mancuso and Tarpsoft Sports because that one this morning was hilarious. I mean, I remember seeing that the initial video of Toronto saying we want Florida, which is absolutely hilarious. Now looking back, that it's hindsight. Now it's 3-0 Panthers, and I even clapped back a little on Maple Leafs fans, and I said, now I see why your team was celebrating so hard in round 1 because
Right.
That was it for them. That was their cup.
Yep. I was disappointed in the Golden Knights in both games. I know we're going to get to both those series, but I wanted to say if you're Golden Knights, I'm disappointed that the first game they allowed 4 goals from one player, although he's great. The next game they allowed like a bunch of goals anyways. I don't like. I also think Evander Kane is an idiot, but whoever he was punching, no one wanted any part of that. So apparently he said something terrible. So
yeah, I mean Evander Kane, this is just kind of what he does, and everybody's trying to get on him about You know, when Kolazar was down, he was punching him. But I mean, we've seen episodes of this, including Kolazar. There's video evidence of him doing the same thing. It's one of those unwritten rules. When the guy's down, you don't punch. And are there players that break it? Sure, all the time. It happens. It's not right. And hopefully we'll get a little bit more intensity out of this matchup, because this isn't over for sure between Kane and Kolazar. But you know, yeah, the problem here is just the fact that the Knights, for 2 games, I know they're 1-1 and they're lucky to be 1-1. They're taking some of the dumbest penalties I've ever seen, and because Edmonton is faster. I get that. They're going to be faster than any team in the NHL right now. But I mean, we're talking Pietrangelo at the end of a period, elbowing a guy in the face. We're talking about tripping penalties that are just unnecessary. But if you're in the box, you're already losing. I mean, Edmonton's power play is the closest thing to automatic I've ever seen in my life. It's insane. They have 5 power play goals through 2 games, maybe 6. I can't remember, but I know they have at least 5. They had 3 in the first freaking game, and they lost 3 by Draisaitl. So, you know, what do you do with this team with Edmonton? You got to stay out of the box. I mean, Vegas is statistically the best 5-on-5 team in hockey right now, and what they're doing is literally just kicking out one of their legs for some of the dumbest reasons I've ever seen. And if they're going to continue down this road, then thank you for playing. Pick up your parting gifts at the door. It's going to be a quick series. It'll be over in 5. But I don't think this series is quite done yet. I think that Bruce Cassidy is going to figure out a way to kind of make this team beat them 5-on-5. Like, staying out of the box is going to be the key. And who knows? I could come out and be wrong, and they just can't hang with them, and the only way they can do it is take penalties. But if they're going to continue down this road, like I said, it's going to be a quick series. I disagree with that situation, though. I think we're going the distance in this one. I think this one's going 7. I think that Vegas is going to figure it out. My issue, and we just talked about kind of blaming the refs. My issue is not, I don't want to blame the refs on this one, but I really like the refs to look out for the defensemen for Edmonton. There have been probably, I would count, 6 cross-checks, blatant cross-checks of a guy without the puck they're down near Edmonton's goal, that just, for whatever reason or another, just seem to be getting overlooked. And the one I obviously take the most offense with is Mark Stone getting cross-checked by Desharnais, because this is a guy who came off of 2 back surgeries in the last year. Now, I understand that shouldn't matter to a guy, another player on the ice, but eventually that's going to catch up to Mark Stone. And I just feel like if your duty is to protect players out there, you can't be letting them get away with blatant penalties. I'm not even asking for the penalties. I'm just asking for you to stop. I wouldn't say intentionally injuring a guy, but it feels like he's injured, his back is injured, and you're going right at that source. And I feel like that's a problem. And again, it's not because I'm begging for power plays or criticizing officiating. I'm just saying it's really something that needs to be just monitored, and then it's become a problem for me in the series so far. But that's not an excuse for the Knights. They've been getting waxed. I mean, like I said, they weren't even the better team in the game, in my opinion, that they won. So things got to change for them, and hopefully Cassidy can figure that out.
I think he will. I mean, he's been. Was he the same coach as y'all's first year?
No, that was Gallant, who got fired by the Rangers the other day.
Oh, wow. Okay, there you go. Nice segue there. Okay, so is Cassidy known? I mean, I think I've heard the name before. He's a good coach, right?
He was the Bruins coach for the last few years before this.
Okay.
Ironically,
he leaves and they do well, but go ahead.
Ironically, all of Vegas's coaches were in the playoffs this year. Gerard Gallant, coach for the first couple years. He was with the Rangers. He just got fired. And Pete DeBoer is the Stars head coach. He was the one who got fired last year.
Stars better watch out.
Yeah, Kraken have looked good so far, man. It's been incredible to watch them play. They definitely get their goals in bunches. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was wondering, do they have like the best? I mean, I know obviously the best offense probably goes to Edmonton, but I think that feeds a lot off of power play. So is the best pure offense the Kraken? Because every time I look at the box score, I'm like, we got 3 more goals. I don't understand how that's possible in playoff hockey.
they have stepped up to another level, which is impressive because you're correct. Because the goalie that they're going against is not just some pushover. This isn't a Stuart Skinner type. No disrespect to Stuart Skinner, but Jake Ottinger is a bona fide goalie. He showed that last year in the playoffs as well. It's hard to say what the Kraken are doing right now. Whatever they're doing, whatever they're eating, whatever superstitions they're accustomed to, it's working for them right now. And you really love to see it because you like these startups, like Vegas, obviously a few years ago, and the Kraken. It's nice to see. It's nice to root for. A lot of, I would say, casual hockey fans wouldn't know a lot of the guys on this team. Now, with specifically the Kraken, I think it's different with you because you follow them a little bit more. But
right, Eberle, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the guys that are still on this team are still some of those rejects that the other teams didn't want, and I use that term, respectfully, of course. But
no, I mean, I was watching the Desert Dogs this year, and I would use the same term. I would say they're rejects, but it's because they're inspiring themselves to get better because these teams didn't want them. That's what they are.
Speaking of, I don't want to get too far off this tangent, but how did James Hanna? Is it James Hanna? Jack Hanna. That guy's amazing.
I've heard he's pretty good. And I've seen some of his PLL clips, and those are impressive too.
He was pretty good. Yeah, he was fun to watch that day. I went to the game. I'm surprised somebody let him go. Panther City, I think.
I think he was a draft pick, actually. I think.
Oh, he was.
I think he's a rookie.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes more sense then. That he was drafted by them. He's good. That's a good kid.
Yeah, watching lacrosse, I've appreciated hockey more. Just to let you know.
Yeah, I mean they're a hybrid of each other, especially. I do enjoy that you have come over to the hockey side. It's pretty awesome. And that's the one thing I'll say about sports is I've always said this is I feel like the two sports out of the major four that are lower in the rankings, baseball and hockey, are much smarter sports to watch.
Okay.
A lot more goes on than just, put the
buckets
thing in
and touchdowns.
Buckets and touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more up here going on, in my opinion, than throughout the course of a game. Strategy.
I like that because I feel like it's really from a fan perspective. I feel like all sports, basketball obviously has all those pick and rolls, but no one cares about that. It's getting buckets, okay? When you're watching baseball, you have to be aware of this. Have to be aware of the shift. Have to be aware of all kind of stuff. With hockey, you have to be aware. I agree with that. You have to be aware of certain things that you don't have to be aware of in other sports.
Yeah, I mean, I just think also the lack of defense that's played in the NBA as well. I mean, there's guys, we're talking about superstars, and they're like, well, he can't be. I think it was Chris Broussard was talking about like the GOAT conversation of right now, and they were talking about how Giannis can't be the GOAT because he can't shoot a mid-range and his three-point shot is just very average. Luka can't be the GOAT because he doesn't play defense. I'm like, we have a basketball player that we're talking about as like one of the best, and he just absolutely refuses to play defense. It's mind-boggling to me that like James Harden for a long time refused to play defense. It was just, there were so many guys, like that's why you have the real GOATs, the LeBrons, the Michaels, the Kobes, because they did it all. They may not have done it all fantastically, but they can do it all to a professional level.
Respectful extent,
Yeah, it's like, we talk about today's game, and it's like there is no true well-rounded GOAT. I mean, even look at like Steph. Steph, he can't be considered the GOAT because there's just things he doesn't do. He doesn't play much defense. He does play a little, but he doesn't play much defense. Like, it's just today's NBA just baffles me that they can get these superstars, pay them handsomely, and they don't do one of the main two things you're supposed to do in basketball: score and defend.
Especially when there's no defensive line shift coming out for you.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Absolutely.
See, I'm getting good with the terminology. I have to circle back to the series because I do want to get your take on why you think the Maple Leafs have been so bad. Is it because Panthers were just that good, or is it because Maple Leafs were just not good? I don't know what to think here. Like what's the X's and O's of this all?
I think it's a combination of neither and both. I know that sounds. Toronto's not a bad team. Let's get that twisted. They've gone through a goalie problem so far in these playoffs, and they've gone through a little bit of rotation. Samsonov just got hurt as well at the end of this game. Florida, people slept on Florida. I mean, they won the President's Trophy last year. I know that obviously they got rid of, remember the guy I couldn't remember last year? They got rid of Jonathan Huberdeau in exchange for Tkachuk. And, they didn't achieve what we expected out of them in the regular season, which is what probably caused everybody to kind of forget about them. And then when, obviously they're going up against Boston and, President's Trophy this year, all-time great team. And everybody's like, okay, well, this series is just done. Like we're going to have Boston in either Toronto or Tampa. And, Toronto had that pressure, that overwhelming pressure to get out of the first round. And of course, this year they faced Tampa. Now, if Tampa would have held leads, we wouldn't even be talking about this because Toronto would be out of the first round. They would have been 4-1. They'd have been out again. Same story, same old song and dance. I don't know how to really put my finger on what's going on right now because, like I said, it's just there's an overwhelming pressure being the Cup favorite sometimes. And when you are now the hunted because all of the hunted are gone. Colorado's gone. Boston's gone. Tampa's gone. You are the hunted. Some people thrive on that and some people don't. And Toronto seems like a team that just can't get out of their own way sometimes. Their fans are delusional, which you could say, but their fans are delusional. I love the "We Want Florida" chant because they got them. They got every bit of them. And then the other thing I can look at is just they, in game one when they go up 2-0, they just kind of sat back and rested, and Florida just kept grinding. And it's nothing against Florida, but they're playing with house money. I mean, they're not supposed to be here. They're definitely winning these games. And, combine that with what I tell you, the one thing that you can't stop in the playoffs is the hot goalie. And that's Sergei Bobrovsky right now.
Nice name.
Goalie Bob.
Woo! I like that's the guy. Okay, I like that name better.
Yeah.
Let's take a break here, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs. Just a quick word about safety. We'll be right back.
If you're driving, please remember to use your car's Bluetooth speaker while listening to the AM Drive. Sports talk is not worth your safety or the safety of others. Thank you.
NBA. Fanatics is next, sir. Shame on you.
It's very simple. If you're watching these playoffs and you want to support your favorite team, you got to go to MikeandAaronDrive.com. And of course, click that Fanatics logo. You got everything from NLL playoffs, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, NFL draft. Every sport, team, and player are there at your disposal, at your fingertips. Add to cart times a million. And of course, and when you buy from Fanatics, going through that Mike and Aaron Drive link, we do get taken care of by those Fanatics, our partners there. So we appreciate you guys for that. So make sure you're buying all your gear from Fanatics, but going to MikeandAaronDrive.com first and clicking that Fanatics logo to do so. So we thank you.
Woo! I can't wait for my scuba hoodie to come in from the NLL.
For your what?
My scuba hoodie.
Oh, scuba hoodie. Okay.
It was like the cool thing that goes over your face and
I saw what I know you sent it to me. Which one? You just got an NLL one or you got a team?
Yeah, NLL.
So are you a Georgia Swarm fan or are you just kind of taking it for the whole league?
Whole league, but I have a low-key rooting interest for the Rush.
Yeah, because they were your first?
I kind of like the Dogs, though. I really do.
The Desert Dogs?
Either the Dogs or the Riptide, yeah. I'll figure it out.
That was like 5 teams you just named.
That's right. All right, NBA playoffs. It's time for another Get Caught Up edition. Basically, all you need to know, there's been a couple blowouts. There's been a couple ref conundrums, but all in all, the Heat are dominating the Knicks. Even when they didn't have Jimmy Butler, they dominated them anyways. And they lost the game, but you get it. They're up 2-1 on the Knicks fans who won't shut up. You've got the Lakers who beat the snot out of the Warriors. So that series is 2-1. And as I predicted, it's going to be 3-1 going back to Golden State, but we'll leave that alone for now. Or going back to LA, excuse me, not Golden State. Is it LA or Golden State?
They'll be going back to Golden State. It's in LA right now.
Okay, that's right. Okay. Well, LeBron is expending so much energy on defense. Anthony Davis had a decent game, but D'Angelo Russell is the reason why I picked the Lakers. Not because of LeBron, not because of Steph, not because of anybody else. D'Lo could neutralize what Steph was doing a little bit, in my opinion. And if D'Lo's offense is on, I don't think Lakers are going to lose the series. I think it's going to be 5 or 6 games. I'm leading 6, but 5 is also on the table. I'm sorry. The Sixers and the Celtics. Sixers have won 2 games on the back of James Harden. And the other 2 games he's done his best Anthony Davis impression. I honestly thought the Celtics were far and away better, but Jason Tatum in back-to-back playoffs has ridden the coattails of his bench and his role players and Jaylen Brown. It's why I have a future on Jaylen Brown to win Finals MVP. Like 22-1. Because I just thought it was great value for the guy, right? I don't know. Out of all those series, also the Nuggets and the Suns have been competitive, but Nuggets, I feel like, really dropped the ball in Game 4, and now the series is tied at 2-2. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at that series, obviously, and I know I say this and it sounds like a broken record, but, until a home team loses, the series doesn't really start at that point. The Heat have looked like an incredible team. They seem to do this every year come playoff time. They kind of ramp it up a little bit. There's no real – obviously you have Jimmy Butler, but I would say there's no real superstar on this team, so to speak, that you have that doesn't make me want to. Like, I've tuned into Warriors-Lakers for the obvious reasons, but I don't think the Heat and Knicks really have that. Despite their brands, I don't think they really have that superstar that makes you want to tune in. So, right. For me, that series, you're right, it's kind of almost an afterthought. It's almost like the Hurricane Devil series in the NHL. Like, I know it's there, and I'll keep tabs on the scores, but I'm not dying to watch it, which is kind of weird because there's a lot of good players in there. But anyways, it's just one of those things, Obviously, the most interesting series, the must-see TV, is Lakers Warriors. I gotta ask you, and I know that you don't necessarily subscribe to this, and I'll reserve my opinion. But who do you think the NBA wants at the end of this series, or do you think they care? Like, I'm sure they would prefer this to be the conference final game, like with Warriors Lakers. I'm sure they would have preferred that to be conference finals. But to go to the conference finals, who do you think the NBA would prefer?
The media side prefers Steph, and I have my reasons for that. But I think the league itself would probably want the Lakers because it's LA, and it's LeBron, and it's AD. But I feel like the media side wants, like I said, Warriors. I feel like the league would prefer the Lakers to go.
Yeah, to me, it feels like the league actually is in the best spot here right now with that side of the bracket, obviously, because whichever team they get, I think they're going to enjoy, which, like I said, would have been a great conference final matchup. Now, I think the league, correct me if I'm wrong, other than, I think, 2011, we haven't had a LeBron versus KD series.
They've all been, one of them's been hurt, or it hasn't happened. It just hasn't happened. Agreed. Huh?
They haven't been in the same conference either. I think the only time we got it was Thunder Heat, the finals that one year. But, nothing has changed for me with the Denver series right now because every team is held serve at home. But it's starting to look a little to me like we might get a KD versus LeBron conference final.
The league would like that, I'm sure.
I do agree with that indeed.
I do have a question because I don't want to get on this tangent too much, but I'm kind of opening the door for it. Do you find it peculiar that the same media, because if you listen to old players talk, they say the media really wanted Jordan to be the GOAT because he had the most swagger, and although he was incredible, there's been players. Isaiah Thomas has been one of those guys who said, the league clearly wanted Jordan up there. And the media has propelled that it won't shut up about the other 9 years that he played. Because he's 60-0 and that's it. I wonder if the reason why we're suddenly getting a Stephen A. Smith who has massive leverage in media for the NBA, why does he feel like Steph Curry's better if he wins this series? Does that strike you as like, what the crap? Or does that strike you as even – because everyone knows why the Warriors have beaten LeBron at all. So what is your take on that?
So my only take on it, and I'll never say as a player, just pure talent, I'll never say that Steph is better than LeBron. That's a blasphemous take. Achievement wise, you could obviously make that argument, because if he does win and ultimately wins another title, that's 5. 5 is more than 4. But for me, my argument for Steph would be is that Steph was one of those players that he changed the game. Now, I will always argue that he changed the game for the worse, but that is clearly a minority argument. Because I see, you see basketball games where they're jacking up 63 points.
It's annoying.
It is. It's so bad. And the thing is it's cool for Steph and Clay because they're 2 of the greatest shooters of all time. But the rest of these guys aren't. You're not the greatest shooters of all time. So you're not the Splash Brothers. You're not even close. So I would always argue that Steph changed the game for the worst in that opinion. But he changed the game. I don't think LeBron changed the game like Michael did. So I can understand why people have this narrative that Steph is a bigger all-time great. I don't agree with it, but I can understand that narrative because of what he did for the game. And if he does get a 5th, it's 5 over 4. And I think he got 3 of his over LeBron versus the 1 LeBron got over him. Is there 2?
I think it's 2. No, it's 3 because KD got 2 of them and Steph got 1 with Iguodala.
Yeah, I thought it was 3. So he's got at least
3
over LeBron's 1 against each other. And if he gets this one, then obviously he beat LeBron on the path. But yeah, sheer talent wise, he is not a better player. Not in the slightest.
I've always feel like, and I know threes were a big part of the game. Even LeBron's trying to shoot threes late in his career. But if you cannot dunk the ball, I don't see how anybody can call you a GOAT at all. Like, I don't see if you're in a men's sport and you cannot dunk a basketball, 3 can be better than 2 all it wants to, but eventually you're going to have to take it to the hole. And I'm sorry.
I got to imagine he can dunk. It's just not a part of his game.
He can, but it's not pretty during a game. Sometimes he's tried and it's not worked.
I mean, I got to imagine, like I said, he's more of a finesse guy. He's not a power guy. I mean, look at Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard was all power, all dunks, but he's an afterthought in terms of best player and best player of all time. I mean, I still maintain that despite the fact that he shot 50% up from the free throw line, Shaq's the best player of all time. If he had the work ethic of Kobe Bryant, he would no doubt be the best player of all time.
Especially late in his career, yeah.
But he just the way he dominated, you weren't stopping Shaq. Which is why Popovich invented the hack-a-Shaq, of course, which ultimately became the greatest defense against Shaq I've ever seen because nobody's doing it on the court.
Pop's good sometimes for the better or worse. Let's take a break here. We're going to do top 5 baseball teams and something that's so fun to talk about next.
All right, welcome back to this Monday edition of the AM Drive, and you see it right there. Look at the cow. He's getting fanned because he provides you delicious meat from our friends at AGRIDIME. It's very simple. You go to mikeandaarondrive.com, click that AGRIDIME logo. You can shop for all the best meats that you can get your hands on. Steaks, chickens, roasts, everything. You can buy a whole freaking cow while you're there if you'd like to. And if you do, I think they have a bundle now. If you buy the cow, they'll literally give you a free deep freezer.
Oh,
so you store that cow. And there's another one I just came across this weekend. I think it's a half cow or a quarter cow option they send you a free Traeger grill with that option as well. So, you got to have something to cook your meat on. So basically, whatever you decide to buy, make sure you put in promo code AMDRIVE to get 10% off of that order. Tell the folks at at AGRIDIME that AMDRIVE sent you. That's a tongue twister.
Ooh. I was going to say something funny about meats. Oh, don't name the cow.
Never name the cow.
That's the step one to disaster, man.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a friend who lives in Idaho who raises a small herd, and his wife, like the first couple years, she would name the cow. Bad move. Bad move.
Here's Betsy. Shut up.
Play on words. Bad move.
Move. Go to AGRIDIME and use promo code AMDRIVE. I don't know. Top 5 base.
That wasn't funny. Move on.
Right. Top 5 baseball teams. Aaron, I feel like I have an obligation to go first because I was so terrible last week.
Yeah, as long as you don't have the Yankees, the last place Yankees in your lineup again.
Like a +4 run differential, I'm good. Okay. We're going 5-1 or 1-5?
Whatever you want. I'd say 1-5 because 1's pretty obvious.
Okay, well, 1 is the one is the Tampa Bay Rays, who are at +115 run differential, by far the best. But the thing that bugs me about the Rays right now is they're 19-3 at home. How have they only played 13 road games? That still doesn't make any sense to me. Every other team has a nice balance, and not 22-13 is just the league wanted the Rays to be good, and they've got it. So there you go.
Oh, calm down with that.
Come on. Number 2, the Atlanta Braves. The Braves are 15-3 on the road, and that's 24-11 overall with a +56 run differential. Not bad at all. Number 3 are the Baltimore Orioles, who are 22-12. They're 13-8 on the road, 9-4 at home, so I feel like that was a nice balance for them. And +29 and lost 2 in a row. Didn't like that too much, but you get it. Number 4, I've got the Rangers of Texas. They've been pretty good the last few weeks now. They're +85, which is the second. Obviously, the team that's only close to the Rays right now, but 8-7 on the road kind of hit me the wrong way. And the Boston Red Sox are entering your top 5, our top 5. They've been hot, and they have this one Asian guy, I believe. I forgot his name, but he's been like blasting home runs as he entered the league. So I'm happy for him. But they're 13-7 at home and a 21-15 with a +25 will help me all I need to know. You know his name?
It's escaping right now, but I think it's Yoshida.
Yeah, he's pretty. What? Hold on. No, yeah, he's pretty good though.
Well, it's funny. You upgraded from a 5th place team in your top 5 to a 4th place team in your top 5. How do you leave out Toronto? I mean, they were like big in your top 5, like early in the season.
I'll tell you why.
I mean, I'm shocked.
I'm not, because Blue Jays have kind of fallen off the map. Where are they at?
Sox, I think.
Oh, +20. Yeah, not good enough for me.
You got a better record than your 5th place team.
Oh well.
All right, I have 4 of the same teams as well that you do. I love my Red Sox, but I don't have them in here just quite yet. For me, number 1 is obviously Tampa. Number 2, Atlanta, which has moved up 1 spot back to the number 2 spot for me. I didn't love their series against the Orioles, although, like you said, the Orioles are a strong team. I thought they should definitely probably, I don't know what to make of the Orioles, but Texas slides down to number 3. Baltimore is in my 4 spot as well. I think they're playing incredible. I just don't know what to make of them just quite yet. We'll have to figure out, obviously, as the season goes on. And number 5, entering the chat for the first time for me this year, are those Los Angeles Dodgers. Yeah. They are 8-2 in their last 10. They're now comfortably leading the NL West. It took a little time to get out of the gate there, but it seems like they're finding their rhythm in that NL West right now. And for me, it was a matter of time before they got back into this top 5 ranking for me. So Tampa, Atlanta, Texas, Baltimore, and Los Angeles Dodgers for me.
Great work, Aaron. Great work. Dodgers were considered on my top 5.
Yeah, and they're just such a strong team. They're just such a strong team, but they needed a few weeks to kind of figure it out and get it in gear. But you knew they were going to be there, and we'll see if they stay there because, as much as we hype the NL West, they're not that great.
I just got a notification that Ray Allen finally graduated from UConn 27 years later. That's insane to me.
That's good for him. It's probably an honorary degree.
That'd be nice. Okay. Why don't you take this one, sir?
Oh man, I forgot the guy's name. But so obviously, we've got another one of these. It seems to kind of rear its ugly head.
Glen Kuiper is his name?
Glen Kuiper.
Okay.
Yeah. So during the Athletics Royals broadcast, Glen Kuiper, basically used an on-air racial slur in his broadcast, and eventually had to apologize for it a few innings later, and has now been suspended indefinitely by the team for this act and this word. So I'm curious to you because I'll take the lead on this. I watched the video, and my opinion on it is this. At first, when I first listened to it, it sounds bad. It sounds like that hard R version of the word. But I turned the volume all the way up. I stuck the phone to my ear, and again, after maybe a couple of listens, I can hear that he basically kind of, I don't want to go to it on this. Because I don't even want to have it questioning mine, but it's the ig-ro. It's very quick the way he says it, and I can hear it. But, and this is a big but, and I like big butts, and I cannot lie.
Wow.
In today's world, I heard what he said. It took a few times. I heard what he said. He said Negro, but in today's
Go ahead.
Hear me out here. In today's world, I feel like it's almost necessary for a person who is not of African American descent or Black to almost enunciate that word so extensively that hey, we stopped at the Negro Leagues Museum and we had the barbecue. I forget what the name of the barbecue he said. You almost have to enunciate it so far to let people know that you are not saying anything remotely related to that. And again, I'm not bashing him. I'm not condoning the way he went about it, but I'm also not canceling him. But I don't think because this happened. Apparently, this happened before. There's videos that surface that he's done the ig-ro real quick, and it comes out like ig, the gur, So I'm not, like I said, I'm not canceling him, but I feel like just a public service announcement in today's day and age, you almost have to extensively pronunciate Negro League as a white person, or even as a person of anything that's not of a Black, of African American descent. So,
my first time listening to it, have not listened to it again. Don't care to. He's got an accent. That's why I took away from that. You could tell under the word he said was sounded weird compared to the way I speak. And some people, like you said, do say negro. The older guys say negro. I don't know why they don't pronounce it negro. And I've heard other people say it like that and get canned for the same crap. But what I tell people is this. I'm not going to engage with you on Twitter because it's stupid. What I tell people is this. Have we heard of this guy, and not just using that same, if you're talking about the league, okay, if that's the only time he uses it, he's not a racist, okay? I don't care what anybody says, you're not a racist scumbag, because it literally means you have to hate the other race. So if he broadcasts for baseball, which has got a lot of Dominican Republic and a lot of Black players in it, do not tell me he's some scumbag racist, because that's just not true. If this is the only time we have to cherry pick what this guy does, because he's got some Northwest accent or whatever that's from, then, like you said, it's just on him to pronounce it better. But to me, what if he does pronounce it better next time? Oh, he's trying too hard. You can't win.
No, and you're right.
It's so stupid. Rename the place like you told me before. Rename it.
Sure. Yeah. I think we have talked about that before. And
Black
for me,
Museum.
The one thing that really exonerates Glen Kuiper for me is the fact that, well, two facts. One, that I think it was like 7 innings into the game where, nobody noticed it. Like, a camera guy, his co-host, Dallas Braden, who's a big advocate for a lot of minority groups, race, orientation. I don't know if you know Dallas Braden. He's a big advocate for a
beard?
Big beard, yeah.
Oh.
A big advocate for a lot of those quote unquote marginalized groups. So for him to just sit there when the hard R would roll off, I don't buy it. Like, he didn't even flinch.
That's what I'm saying. Like, obviously the microphone picked up something else. Because the microphone may have not have emphasized, because some microphones, if people know about these things, they emphasize certain parts of your mouth and like the way you speak. So if he says it real fast, like he's just talking about a story he heard or that he was a part of, the guy beside him probably hears the word come out and you hear a totally different thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he's a scumbag. I don't understand why people can't. It's almost like the same. It's funny how the same people in today's society who cannot spell anymore, funny how they like to be the word police. It's just hysterical to me.
It's just, I have a hard time believing, unless he was literally trying to sabotage his life, that he's going to just say that on air.
Now, even a hot mic. He had the cameras on him. They were rolling.
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't a hot mic. It wasn't in between. It wasn't a Tom Brenneman one, like in between the commercial breaks where they came back too soon. This was just like he was full blown aware of what was going on. Now, again, I don't know him personally. If he is a closet racist and he says this in his own time, okay, so be it. I heard a lot of people saying that this is what he says behind, when the camera's not on. And if he does, great. But like, to crucify him for what we think he said, I don't buy it.
Good point. I'm just tired of talking. I feel like every single year we got some broadcaster does it. Like, who cares? Like, if they want to say like committing a hate crime, I don't want to hear it anymore. It's so stupid at this point.
It's not hate crime. It's not hate speech. Like, again, I think you're right. It's if you go back to the other video where he has been alleged to say this again, it was against the Giants. It was I think it was during the pandemic, because they were talking about the Negro League museums. They were putting up cardboard cutouts of the Hall of Famers who were in the Negro League museum, because all the stadiums were doing those cardboard cutouts and stuff. So he was commenting on it, and he said it again. So I think it's got to be his accent, because in 2020 there was no uproar. Nobody said anything. He wasn't suspended, and that video sounds exactly the same. It does. It's real close. But again, I'm not condoning this guy. I'm not supporting this guy. But I will say this: it's my final, as a public service announcement. Especially if you're a white guy, just enunciate Negro. Just say it slow. I don't even care. But if you like your job and you want to keep it, and you don't want to succumb to the cancel culture of America, just say it slow, enunciate it to the full. Or it'd be great. You're right. It'd be great if they changed it.
I don't know if like the word has to be African American leagues, or actually that would probably be more acceptable, but considering how close back it is in history to that stuff. But
what's called the Black Baseball Hall of Fame? We have the black everything else.
Yeah, it's like
it's called the BBHOF, instead of the the BHOF, the BBHOF, Black Baseball Hall of Fame.
Or call it just the NLHOF. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, I think they want to keep it the Negro Leagues now, so that people will slip up on their accents, so they can cancel everybody.
I just love people. That's all I know. Okay, we're going to take one more break. When we come back, what's next on Friday? You don't want to miss it. We're right back. I'd like to apologize that on what was it called? On Friday's show, wasn't that May the 4th?
It was May the 5th. Friday was Cinco de Mayo.
Well, I just want to let people know that it was my. I want to come on the air and just say I'm sorry to anybody I've offended if you observe the Force like I do. Okay, go ahead.
You're canceled.
The shop. That's right.
Yeah. Make sure you tune in to Friday's show. We have. I'm super excited about this week's Fantasy Draft Friday. By the way, I think you got destroyed in the Ultimate Mexican Feast as well. By the way, something I didn't think about that when you were creating your Ultimate Mexican Feast, you literally have chips and salsa. You have nachos, which are a chip dish, but then your side is tortillas. Are you just gonna eat the tortillas?
We went through this. You crunch it up in a big tortilla.
Well, yeah, okay. Well,
I did say that it was funny I had 2 chips, just to let you know. I didn't say that.
Yours didn't go over well in the comment section, so sorry, buddy.
I'm canceled again.
I think I won the Ultimate Mexican Feast. Sorry, man.
The Fantasy card is coming your way regardless of if you win the NLO bracket challenge.
I will say that you did the Mexican Coke was a nice touch. Your best pick for sure, by far.
Thank you. That's not fair, but I'll take it.
But this Friday, in honor of Mother's Day, this week's Fantasy Draft Friday is going to be our top 5 mothers of all time. And it could be mother anything. So don't just limit it to our own mothers, but it's going to be a fun one. But
not the slur. The slang or whatever.
Negro Leagues?
The mother.
Well, that was going to be one of my picks. Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
You can't do MF. That's not. Come on, man.
Why not? That's one of the greatest mothers.
That's horrible.
Fine, I'll do Yippee-ki-yay, Mother Effer, and you can do Mother Teresa. And it'll balance each other out.
With my first pick is probably going to be your mother or yo mama. Ha! I win.
See, you can use that. See, that's a good one.
Yo mama. Hey, who's mama? I don't care. It's yo's.
This turned from a nice, wholesome, good old boy draft to it's going to get raunchy and dirty.
Great. Yo mama. First pick.
I go with MILF.
Stop that. No cuss words.
All right, it's going to do it here for us. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure in between now and Friday's next show that you are supporting our show at MikeandAaronDrive.com, the shop, the sponsors, the socials, and, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's the paramount. That's the key. Subscribe. Put that notification bell on, too, if you want to get all of our shows. But until Friday, again, enjoy your sports week, and we will see you guys on the other side.
Drive safe, knuckleheads.